to officially, introduce myself. I'm Father Steve Kim, the new priest here, and very happy to be here. And I'll share with you a little bit about, my story in a little bit. But transition is not so easy for you, the parishioners, at times, right? Because you get used to a certain style or a certain type of priest, and then it's like, oh, a different one. Okay, what's I think this community really loved Bishop Andy, and you kind of seen him grow, right, from Father Andy to Bishop Andy, and you should take the credit for having him become bishop, right? But what was Bishop Andy's slogan, if you want to call it, at the end of the Mass? He says, "Oh, thank you this, thank you everybody, thank you for making Saint Elizabeth your church of choice," right? It's like even in the calendar, right? So it's like sounds like a Southwest commercial, But it really is, he's very generous, very grateful, very organized, and he did so many wonderful projects, and he's truly thankful to the parishioners for making St. Elizabeth your church of choice. And I say, well, thank you for continuing to make St. Elizabeth your church of choice, right? And every pastor, they kind of got their own thing going on, own idiosyncrasies, right? I'll tell you mine right off the bat, okay? So mine is not the church of choice. Mine is, what's your homework? I know, it's like trauma for some people. Oh no, it's like school, homework, no, I don't want to do that, right? But growing up as a kid, I'd go to Mass every Sunday, and it was great Mass. I listened to the Word of God, great music, and received the Eucharist. But oftentimes, I would walk out of Mass going, do I remember anything? Nothing, right? Or what am I supposed to do all week? Nothing. So, I made a point. I'm an educator. I've taught schools for many years. My previous assignment was high school principal and president combined. So I'm an educator, right? And I like to, when we walk out of Mass, every Mass on Sunday, I want you to have the feeling of, oh, there's a call to action. There's some kind of challenge or homework, something for me to think about, something for me to do throughout the week, right? So I'll tell you what the homework is, and I'll remind you at the end. Deal? Well, the young kids will say bet, all right? It's a bet, all right? I want to talk about the special reading, the gospel today, Matthew 25, and tie that in with our patroness, St. Elizabeth of Portugal. I was telling people at the Spanish Mass, lucky Mexico is not playing Portugal for the World Cup, because I might have to root for Portugal. It's St. Elizabeth, that's our patrona, patroness, right? But hopefully Mexico wins this game against England. We'll see. If not, there'll be a lot of sad people. It's all right. Side note, I was at the USA versus Bosnia game at Levi, and it was so cool because I'm the chaplain for the 49ers, and I'm used to a very hostile environment, with the people fighting. And this one, everybody's united, everybody's patriotic, everybody go USA, So it was a very cool experience. But Matthew 25, there will come a day when, whether you're young or old, all of us will die. And whether you like it or not, there will be what we call a final judgment, an account of our lives. And many people think the final judgment is, okay, how did you do on commandment number 4, commandment number 6, 7, 8, right? The 10 commandments. But Jesus clearly tells us the final judgment is based on whatever you did for the least brothers and sisters of mine, you did unto me. And there will be a separation between the sheep and the goats. Right? And my question to you simply is, you want to be a sheep or a goat? Should be an easy answer. I know some of you like the goat meat, goat meat is good. You have to cook it well or else it's kind of gamey, right? But sheep or goat? Obviously sheep, yeah, because you will separate them. The sheep will be going to heaven, the goat somewhere else, right? And there's 3 distinct qualities, I think, of a sheep, and along with our patroness, Saint Elizabeth of Portugal. 3 words I want you to remember as you walk out, right? It's humility, obedience, and sacrifice, right? Sheep, I don't know if you've ever seen a sheep, over in the rural areas, sheep, they're known to be docile, they're humble. Goats can get a little feisty, and they have a temperament, right? Saint Elizabeth of Portugal, at the age of 12, married King Dennis, became queen. Right? So think about it. So before you were quinceañera, before you were quintillion, you were queen. Right? And as a queen, she was a very humble queen, in the sense she loved to help the poor and the needy. And in fact, she disguised herself and went to the marketplace to give bread to the poor, which the King Dennis really disapproved. Have you heard the miracle of the roses of Elizabeth, Portugal? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you right now. Okay. So one day, King Dennis disapproved of her giving out bread to the poor and the needy, and she was hiding the bread like underneath her dress. And the king caught her, and he's like, "Hey, what do you have underneath the dress? Show me." Right? Well, she had bread underneath, but when she revealed it, the bread turned into roses. Right? Now, fast forward, if we had a Queen Elizabeth 2026, she would probably, I don't know, if you were queen at this time, maybe you have the tiara, you probably have an Instagram account. Right? And you probably have take a picture of yourself, you, the queen, tiara, and you have the bread to show the world of how generous you are. But that's not the way St. Elizabeth did it. She did it, quietly, humbly, in disguise, anonymously. Sound like a sheep or a goat? Yeah, right? And in my experience as a fundraiser, true givers give out of humility, out of gratitude, instead of seeking power or seeking recognition. In one of my previous parishes, a good friend of mine, he decided to help me with a big construction project to the tune of $600,000 that he donated, which is huge, right? And he said, Steve, I'll help you out, but under one condition. And I say, name the condition. If you're going to give $600,000, I'm sure I can make the condition happen, So under one condition, the condition is that I will help you, but I want to do it anonymously. Because I'm not doing this for you, Steve. I'm not doing this for people. I'm doing this for God. And nobody needs to find out. Sheep or goat? Yeah. Another friend, very good guy. I'm not bad-mouthing him at all, but he helped me with this very minor plumbing issue. If you want to quantify it, maybe like $40 worth of work. Okay, but I'm very grateful that somebody helped people, right? And then the next week he says, "Oh, can you help promote my business?" Okay, sure, why not? Quid pro quo, no problem. And the next, "Oh, you know what? I gotta baptize my kid. I helped you with the project. I'm sure you're not gonna charge the church for this." And then, "Oh, I got a daughter wants a quinceañera. Can we use the parish hall? I'm sure that's free too." I said, "Well." I'd rather pay somebody $40 to do the job, right? Right? When we give of our time, talent, and treasure, right, do we give humbly without really counting the cost? Or do we give to seek recognition, seek power? Does our generosity come with strings attached? Humility, folks. Number 2, obedience. The sheep hear the voice of the shepherd and obediently follow the shepherd. But the goats, on the other hand, they oftentimes don't divide. And if you want to cause chaos, oftentimes they put a goat in there and then they just scatter all over, right? Saint Elizabeth was obedient to God in her call to kind of radical charity, is what I would call it. Maybe you heard the story of she encountered a woman with leprosy who was very shy and shameful to show her wounds. But St. Elizabeth lovingly urged her and kissed her foot, and the wound was miraculously healed. In my experience as a fundraiser, one thing I learned is people like to give to what they like to give, not necessarily what's needed. So for example, right, my previous assignment, Catholic high school, tuition is almost $30,000. It's huge. So what I need is tuition assistance so we can provide other students the opportunity of a Catholic education. But when I ask people to donate for tuition assistance, they're like, no, we want to give to athletics. I said, okay, all right. Or one of my previous assignments, I said, hey, we have some issues. We need to fix the bathroom because so many people come to church, but not enough stalls. We need a bigger bathroom. And they said, no, I'd rather give to donate to build a statue. I said, okay, well, can we put the statue in the bathroom? Will that work? No. I just want to make it with a statue. But we need a bathroom. No, I want to give the statue. Right? People like to give what they like to give. Have you ever thought about what the other party actually needs? Have you thought about how charity and obedience can go hand in hand? Right? In fact, the more obedient you are, the better the outcome. Right? So for all the teens out there, or even the young adults, right? Like, do you have like a curfew? You have a curfew? You have a curfew? Yeah? What time's your curfew?
10 is a good one.
10 is a good one? 10 p.m.? Kind of, yeah, okay. So, yeah, it's reasonable. So, if 10 p.m. is a curfew, and your daughter keep coming home 11:30 p.m. or 1 a.m., 2 a.m., what's going to happen? Oh, is that how they do it in Brazil? You're going to be grounded. You're going to get in trouble, right? It's a loss of freedom. Now, if curfew is 10 p.m. and your daughter is so responsible, they show up 9:59 p.m. every weekend, come back home on time, right? The parents are going to be like, oh, I have such wonderful daughters. They're so responsible, I don't need to set a curfew, right? You have a sense of freedom, right? In a marriage relationship, now every mass got this right. Even the Spanish mass got it right. Every mass got it right. What are the magic words in a marriage relationship? 2 words. Yeah, what is it? Trust. Oh, yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yes. Try it. It works. Even if you disagree, just say yes. Just say yes, dear. Be obedient to your wife. Game over. It's easy. Life is so much easier. You have so much freedom, right? Be charitable. Be obedient. The third piece, sacrifice. Sheep tend to emphasize the herd, the community, while goats are oftentimes like lone rangers, kind of act on their own. And St. Elizabeth, she lived a life of royalty as a queen. After her husband died, she became a widow. So think about it. You're a queen, you're a widow, you have all this castle, all that's to yourself. What did she decide to do? She decided to sacrifice everything and to join a monastery, right? And live a life of prayer. I truly do believe that many of us, or all of us, are charitable. We want to be generous. We want to give of our time, our talents, and treasures. Problem is, we don't really make a sacrifice. We just give out of surplus of what is left over. So let me give you an example. So I'm sure all of us have participated in St. Vincent de Paul, Second Food Harvest, Catholic Charities, Thanksgiving donations, right? They ask for food drives. You donate the canned goods, right? According to the organizations, generally speaking, what percentage of donated canned goods are expired? Take a guess. Just think for yourself. How about that? They say 70%. 70% of donated canned goods are expired. And then he said, well, Father, It's okay. It is expired, but it's still good. They can still eat it. Oh, but you're not going to eat it. So you're not going to open that can for you and your kids and your grandkids, but it's good for them, those people. Oh, I see. All right. What it seems to me is you want to just clean out the pantry and save on your trash bills. The trash collection on Fridays, Milpitas, I learned that this week. Yeah? Definitely not giving out of sacrifice. It's out of surplus, out of what's left over. Right? Or people, they go to the restaurant and you order some stuff and you're like, I don't really like this thing, or I'm allergic to that, or I don't like vegetables, or whatever. And then you ask for a to-go box, and then you see somebody outside, a homeless person, oh, there you go, look at that, here's some food. Well, what if that guy doesn't like vegetables either? Huh? Have you actually thought about asking when you're giving what the other party actually likes? Instead of, I give what I want to do, what I want to give, when I want to give, of whatever's left over. Right? Charity is not giving what is left over. It's about making a sacrifice. Right? So think about, for your homework, pretty simple. You know, I try to keep it simple. Right? 3 words I want you to remember, which are? There you go. You sound like sheep already. Okay, yeah, right. Humility, meh, all right? Humility, obedience, sacrifice. That's the qualities of the sheep, or the examples I said of our patroness, St. Elizabeth. Think about which of these 3 qualities do I need to work on to be more like the sheep when I'm faced with the final judgment, Matthew 25. You know, for me, as I think about these 3 qualities, in terms of humility, you know, I don't really seek power or recognition. It's not, sacrifice. My whole life is a sacrifice already as a priest. But the obedience piece, that's something that's been kind of difficult. I'm an only child, so kind of like I kind of have the only child syndrome of just kind of like whatever I ask, I get, right? And even as a priest, I think I've been somewhat spoiled, right? So I've been a priest for 15 years, and I look at all my assignments that I've had, and all my assignments actually, they've been kind of like things that I wanted to do or seek or desired, right? And as I was transitioning from the Diocese of Oakland to coming back home in San Jose, I had a conversation with the bishop, Bishop Cantu, and I say, hey, Steve, what do you want to do? You know, what do you want to do? And I said, well, Bishop, with all due respect, I look at my life, as a ministry, as a priest, and I've been a parochial vicar, I've been a pastor, I've been a chaplain, I've been a teacher, administrator, president, principal. I've kind of done it all, And I said, I don't really have a strong desire to do this or seek this position or try that. I say, I am obedient. Just whatever, I could be a utility player, that's what I said. And after a while, he said, okay. He said, well, why don't you consider going to St. Elizabeth? I said, sure. So this is my first assignment as a priest where it is done out of pure obedience. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, right? So so I'm working on that obedience piece, right? Which one you want to work on, right? We all want to be sheep. We all want to be docile. We want to be humble, right? We want to make sacrifices, right? We want to be obedient. But which of these 3 we want to really kind of work on, looking at the example of our patroness, St. Elizabeth. Let us profess our faith together. I believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all things visible and invisible. I believe in one Lord Jesus